My name is Bartłomiej Roszkowski. I call myself a serial entrepreneur, a veteran one, because I started my first business like in 2006, so more than 16 years ago. I've got more than 5 ventures under my belt. I've been dealing with venture capital firms from all my professional life, so 3 exits as well. Some of them successful, some of them a little bit less. So I can tell you something maybe interesting for all of the startup ecosystem here in Poland, yeah, and CE.
Can you tell us a bit more about what drives you to start new businesses and keep on going as a founder?
I think all starts with curiosity. So I'm mostly driven by this kind of adventurous type of personality I am. So I've been doing like adventures sports all my life. So like it's diving, it's climbing, it's ice climbing, and so on. So it makes me like curious, but at the same time, new venture, new sport is something that is pretty like unpredictable at the end. So this journey and unpredictability is something, and curiosity that is within my personality is something that drives me to start a new venture, from the very beginning, once and once again. Yeah.
The latest venture you've started differs a little bit from your previous businesses. Can you tell us a bit more about why did you move from being a software entrepreneur to being a deep tech founder right now?
So I think there are like multiple motivations behind the decision. So from the macro perspective, it's like I think the software has been commoditized. So it's approaching to the stage where we've got like almost perfect competition. So where the perfect competition is, there are no margins, yeah, and you cannot get any kind of monopoly. So everyone can build a software. Anyone, even without a technical skill set, can launch a new MVP without technical co-founders. So it's almost perfect. It doesn't mean that it's a perfect investment area right now, and there is a lot of uncertainty. So this is one thing, and of course, deep tech companies are something more like deeply rooted to the local, environments like Europe and so on. And for many years, people thought that the production is something that's really not important. We have to invest in services, digital services, and so on. But in the meantime, China and many like Asian countries invested heavily in production, in deep tech, in biotechnology, in robotics, and so on. And now, in the current environment, we see that it's really important. So I see this area as a deep tech and industrial and manufacturing really important, not only for me personally, but for the Europe and for the global perspective. Yeah. So this is one. The second motivation behind this decision is my personal motivation, because my father was running, brick and mortar company for more than 40 years. So it's something that is deeply rooted to my heritage. So I was raised between the machines, so it's something pretty natural for me. And I think the third motivation lies in the business that I'm running right now. We are developing something that is groundbreaking, and it struck me several months ago. So I think this is a combination of macro environment and my personal motivation and the business itself and the idea behind this. Yeah.
We've talked about starting businesses from the ground up and your role as a founder, especially at the early stages. Can you share your secret sauce about what it is that makes you as a founder important, and what does your role look like at the earliest stages of starting a company, and how does it shift going forward?
Okay. I think all starts with perfect self-awareness about yourself. So you have to know what kind of skill set do you possess and what kind of skill set do you lack. Yeah. And then the second thing that you have to find out where you are weak. So find the perfect team that will complement yourself. Yeah. So mostly it's about recruiting the first co-founders. Of course, the ideal situation is when you know your co-founder from the secondary school or the primary school. So, and you've done like a lot of businesses together, and you failed together, and you fell out many times in the meantime. But of course, this is one thing. Yeah. The second thing, you have to go out and start selling your idea and start pitching to your potential co-founders. Fortunately, right now there are like many possibilities out there to network, to find your co-founders. So including, for example, the Antler accelerator that is happening nearby, so in Berlin. So you can find any kind of matchmaking environments. Yeah, so this is the very beginning. And you start, of course, with selling with a really groundwork. So this is not something you can like omit or you can escape of. And I think some of the things and being detail oriented will still stay with you for all your professional life in this company. But when you grow, when you scale your company, often it starts after like reaching the 50 people in your company. Sometimes it's above 100, 200, or whatever. You start scaling and you start being a little bit detached from the company and the most basic problems of your customers. And what is the most important thing in your company? Of course, this is the product and how you communicate and how you sell your product to your potential customers, what kind of values you provide. So I think this is the most trickiest part of being a founder. As you scale up everything, everybody thinks that, okay, I can escape this groundwork, so I'll be only managing, I'll be like this finger manager and showing people what to do. But in reality, it doesn't work this way. And fortunately, being a founder is the only person, or co-founder being the only person in company that can easily change roles within the organization within minutes. And of course, one day you are diving deeply into the talks with the most potential customers or like with your product team, and the next day you are dealing with some strategic problems and planning for the next 2 years, and 3 days where like walking or jogging, you are thinking about the grand vision of your company. And I think this is the item that most of the founders forget, that they should always be switching between the roles, being this like groundwork doer that you started your business with, then you're a strategic thinker and you are a visionary. You are all in one person, and you will be this kind of person through all your professional life. Of course, the types of the clients, the types of the issues that you are dealing with regarding product changes or like strategic environment, but you always be switching between those three things.
You've mentioned self-awareness, and I was really wondering, how did you learn what about yourself? Like, what was the biggest lesson for you? When did you feel, okay, now I know what I'm good at. I also know what I'm not good at, and from now on, I'll be building companies and businesses where I surround myself with people that complement me. Like, was there any specific moment in time that you said to yourself, now I know?
I think it's series of failures, I may say, and series of successes you've got, and the people, mostly the people you don't want to cooperate with in the future, or types of personalities you don't want to deal with. So this is something, but it's I think it's pretty rare that you are like born self-aware. So this is something you have to learn. Of course, there are types of personality that learn a lot, or they don't have to learn a lot because they are so lucky, because the luck is also the part of doing the business. Yeah. So they are so lucky and so motivated and so focused on the problem that they are solving. And the solution is so great that they do not have to be self-aware. But for just to be honest, like for 90% of the founders, they will be dealing with multiple obstacles on the way. Yeah, so they have to be self-aware. For example, to find the perfect co-founder.
So to reiterate, you would say that learning about yourself, understanding who you are as a founder, is learned through dealing with obstacles, basically.
Yeah, of course. The more obstacles you get on your way, the more failures you've got. So of course, if you and this is some kind of a thing that you should be aware of. You have to think about your fails. Yeah? So it's like, oh, it was just a failure, so go on. So you have to have this kind of think it over, like thoroughly.
And does any sort of failure or failure type, come to mind when you think about something that you've learned the most out of? Was there any sort of failure that you feel like changed you?
I think there are two things, the most important ones. So sometimes people think that you can run the company for 5-6 years and you're done, you can exit and so on. So I exited too early from my first venture. So if I had waited a little bit longer, I could earn like 10 times or 20 or 100 more times more than I earn. Of course, I'm satisfied with the type of experience I got at the time, and I was pushed by venture capital firm to sell my company because the investment period just ended. But as I said, sometimes waiting for the perfect exit will last 10 years or 15 years. So be prepared for a really long journey. And this is, of course, something that should resonate with venture capital firms as well. So sometimes waiting for a little bit longer time, it will mean really high yields. Yeah. And the second thing, it's more like operational type of recommendation for all the founders. So it's like being this founders mode. So when you are scaling your business, yeah, so you've got really experienced, self-aware and conscious managers that you are hiring for a bunch of money, yeah, for a lot of money. You're paying them 100 gram, 200 gram, 300 gram, yeah, and they say, "Yeah, this is my space. You cannot enter my space, so this is mine, and you cannot interfere. You cannot talk with my, for example, people within the team." So I think this is the biggest lie, and the thing that I learned in a hard way in the previous companies that there's always time for a founder to be switching between those details, and you always have the right to talk with everyone in the company, just not to lose touch with what's really happening there, yeah, with the customers, with the product you are building, and so on. Summarizing, don't exit too fast from your company. The second, don't be detached from your ground things in the company, like really details, and details matter. Yeah.
I want to talk a bit more about the power of narrative. I know that it's something that you feel particularly strongly about, and we've talked about it before. So I just wanted to draw from your experience and discuss how crafting the right narrative matters, especially when you start your new business. You started multiple ones, and I think at every single one you kind of figure how to tell the story about the company. So can you tell us a bit more about, firstly, how important is narrative for early stage founders? And secondly, how do you make sure, like, what does your process look like when you sit down and try to craft the right one? Okay, so to say, this is the story that we're gonna tell.
I think it's one of the most important things, especially at the beginning of your company, to use really simple, relatable terms describing your business. And it's related to selling to your potential customers, selling to VCs, and to your potential co-founders and your potential team. Yeah. Every business is complex and can be complicated or overcomplicated. Especially, it's really important for a scientific type of personalities that have been like working in physics, biotechnology, and this kind of things. All the professional life, they can talk hours about the details. But when it comes to explaining what they are really building, what type of problem they are solving, there is a huge challenge for them. And I think the narrative, because the narrative boils down to this kind of simplicity of describing what you actually do. Yeah, and this is something what I learned really in being a part of Y Combinator. So they are really focused on describing what you really do in a few simple terms. And this is not completely bullshit. This is something really important. How you call to your potential customer and sell them in a minute, because they are like in a hurry and so on. How do you send the email or message on the LinkedIn to your potential investor, describing in a few words? You don't have like a few full paragraph or a couple of paragraphs to describe what you do. You have to be like sticky and you have to be catchy. So the narrative is really crucial.
And especially for a deep tech founder, like, how do you find the right way to tell a story about something, sometimes very technical, very complicated or complex? Like, how do you manage that?
So it's a kind of thing or mental trick. You have to put yourself in the shoes of your, for example, potential customer or your potential investor, and try to switch sides for a minute or so. What I would be thinking, how much I would be like excited about this business, this idea, about this solution, if I would be sitting on your chair. So I think it all starts with this kind of mental exercise.
And just to share a secret, like, how long does it take sometimes to craft the right narrative? Like, is it, do you have like an idea within a minute, or, does it take weeks or even months to craft the right one?
During the last 12 months, I felt like maybe 20 times I've got this ideal narrative. After a week or so, I've got something better. So it's always a kind of evolutionary process, not revolutionary. But you will feel it once you've got like a really simple narrative that you believe in and you are comfortable while describing your company, your solution to your potential customers and investors. And it comes naturally for you. I think this is the moment. Yeah. And sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it's months, sometimes years. So it depends.
And what do you feel about changing the messaging of your company, as you go? Like, how often does it happen for you? How often did it happen for you in your previous ventures that, you thought, okay, here we already have it. Let's put it on the wall and start selling, and let's not fix anything. Like, did you have any moments where you said, enough's enough, and now we're gonna
Never
keep that?
is never is like enough is enough. Yeah. So keep changing your narrative all the time and keep gathering the feedback from your potential customers all the time. I think what is really important to know that the most substantial thing in your company is to defining the problem in the right way. Yeah, then the solution will follow, not the other way, because from this problem it boils down to a certain type of customers that you are dealing with, a certain of type of challenges they are having right now, and that they are trying to solve. And of course, running a business means finding all kinds of solutions to solve their problems that they are willing to pay for. Yeah, because we are not a donation type of business. Yeah, we are talking about. It's a little bit different in NGOs. So I would start with this kind of things. Yeah, and be flexible in your mindset about changing the final solution. Yeah, because market evolves, the needs evolve, but always the customers and this kind of focus on the problem solving should stay with you.
I wanted to ask about defining the right problem because I think it really weaves into how you craft the right narrative. So just to make sure that we nail it. So how do you define the right problem to solve, especially around finding the product market fit? Like, when do you know that, okay, now I have it, now I have defined the right problem to solve for my business to begin?
I think the only way to acknowledge it is to go out to your potential customers, friends, family at the beginning, or just grab the phone and call them or send them emails and check if there is a kind of a problem. So there is no other way to find the product market fit, and not only, but also defining the problem you are solving, then actually acting, yeah, as a founder. So this is something that you should do at the very beginning of your company, yeah, even before you crafted your first MVP of the product, yeah.
So what would be your advice to founders who are right now beginning and they're a bit afraid about picking the phone and starting to reach out to their friends, family, neighbors? Like, what would be your advice to encourage them to act?
So don't be stuck in your basement or like laboratory, wherever you are. Just act. Go talk to the customers. Of course, it's pretty uncomfortable for many type of technical type of personalities, but I don't imagine, I cannot imagine any kind of company run by the CEO that is not a salesperson at 5 or 10%. It always will stay with you, yeah. Even if you are like a technical type of person, you'll be selling your product, your solution, your services to potential customers all the time, yeah.
Perfect.